Welcome back to the EVERYMAN Guys.
Welcome.
I'm Jim.
I'm Will.
And this is episode 16.
Correct. I'm
Episode 16. And how was last week, Will? Because this is Tuesday, and it's gonna be releasing on Thursday.
Well, based on what our topic is about, which is going to New York, the weekend was amazing. It was a weekend full of exploring and new adventures.
Yes.
So far the week's been good. I need to get to bed earlier.
I think that's true for all of us.
Literally just today and yesterday, I was just like, it was so hard to just
get up,
function normally as a normal human being. Even like at the end of the workday, I was just sitting there like dozing, like I was so tired.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to just lay in bed and lay awake, especially like last night. I was editing UR2, just color grading,
right,
till like 10 o'clock, and then I get done editing that, and I feel like that's like my free time at night.
Right, yeah.
So then I'm like, well, I don't want to go to bed right now because I finally have free time.
Exactly.
But yeah, I need to get to bed early.
Yeah. Same here, bud. Yeah, it's been a week so far. Monday and Tuesday have been a week. It's been a full week.
Well, the good news is they're flying.
Yeah.
The weeks are flying.
Yes, hopefully the weekend comes quick. What
about you, Jim?
The weekend was great.
The beginning of the week?
The beginning of the week, not
Opposite
so great.
of great.
Opposite. But, working through it.
Yeah.
Literally. Literally working through the week. But yeah, it's, it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's better now that we're recording.
It's life. That's what's nice about this is like even like right now, like our energy level isn't as high as even just last week's.
Right, exactly.
But it's like we're here and we're doing it, and like it's
and
not always going to be the same experience.
Exactly. It's the EVERYMAN Guys. We're EVERYMAN Guys. Every day.
We just learned that our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts is very much easier than we thought.
Yes.
And more expensive than we thought.
Not that it's just move it.
And then from there,
RSS.com
automatically distributes to every podcast platform.
Yeah.
So when you hear people say, or anywhere you get your podcasts, that's probably
this will
why.
Be the anywhere.
So as soon as we get that situated, probably this weekend, you'll have this podcast anywhere that you want to listen to it.
Exactly. Except the moon. We haven't quite reached there as humanity, really.
Yeah. Or even once been there.
Is that a topic for another day?
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a week.
It's been a week.
Unbelievably tired.
Yes.
That's the summary of
we did
of my week.
What to start the tiredness, I feel like we did walk all over New York.
Truth.
Well,
and that's the topic
we did walk
that we're covering today.
Yes.
And we have
our trip to New York.
We were trying out a new format last week, which worked really well.
Yeah.
And this week we're kind of doing the same thing, but we're just kind of going to take it topic by topic rather than
listing the topics,
than listing them, because we kind of want that to be like a comparison between our 2 points of view.
Right.
So like the books made sense.
Yeah, definitely.
But like this, we were both a part of it. We both experienced it together.
So it was like kind of we both had the same thing. So we're like, well, let's just.
Exactly.
We definitely just talked about this and discussed this all through.
Yeah.
From Saturday till
even
Sunday,
after we got back
Monday,
from New York,
Tuesday, we were discussing it all the way up until like 5 minutes before the podcast when we actually did talk about it.
Yeah. So this is like our 10th time talking about it.
Everything was a lie. Well, not everything was a lie. Everything was a lie. Everything was true except the bear.
So start us off.
What is podcast topic 1? It's
just it's stressed about going.
Stressed about going. This one applies mostly to you.
Well, here's the thing: is that when I think about New York, I think about one, the amount of people that are there.
Right.
And 2, we have to figure out a transportation situation to get from, if you want to go from one end of Manhattan to the other,
it takes a while to walk.
It's like you think of, or at least it's easy to think of New York as being like, oh, it's all just everything's like in walking distance.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous to think that, but
right.
Yeah, you have to take the subway if you want to go from the Brooklyn Bridge to Times Square, which is what we did.
Which is exactly what we did.
So, but the last time I was at New York, the last 2 times, getting on the subway was like a big ordeal.
Yeah.
But it was pretty crowded, and it was probably a more busy time.
Right.
And the subway ticketing system was way different.
Yeah, this time
like
was
this time,
super
all you had
easy.
to do.
I've only been. This is my first time.
Yeah. So all you had to do was just double click the
Apple Pay, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much Apple Pay, and then just tap your phone on the scanner, and that was like that was way easier. Before you had to get tickets.
Oh.
And then like something like I forget exactly how it was, but and I could have just been overthinking it, but that right away stress, like that was the only thing I was stressed about because driving there was nothing. Like you drove, me, Paul and Noam rode with Jim.
Yeah.
It was driving wasn't.
Driving was no time. It felt like it was no time at all.
Yeah.
And it was super easy. And then we took the ferry across, which was nice. I was really only stressed about the crowds. Like I don't do the best in a crowded area. So like the crowds though were thankfully very
they weren't too bad.
Middle of the road.
Yeah. I would like to know crowds. Like what that was considered in like New York, like
because like it was not bad at all.
In Times Square specifically.
Times Square was crowded, but it was not as crowded as I was thinking.
I would say, well, one, it was rainy and like cloudy the whole time, so like
it was kind of cold.
But I would say like that kind of deterred some people from being there, which you could tell because when we first got there, when we first got to Times Square, it wasn't really crowded at all.
No,
I mean a little bit, but I mean to be expected.
Yeah.
But when we came back and it was like sunny and like actually like a nice day out, it was really, really crowded. Yeah. Like you had like turn sideways to get down the sidewalk.
Crowded. Right.
So like that wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
That was the only coming back was the only time I felt like, okay, I'm ready to be
back.
I'm ready to like open my arms and like be like spread out. But yeah, I would say the only thing that was stressful was that. Yeah. Like, and it wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, it wasn't
bad really at all.
Yeah.
And then so getting there. We actually parked in Jersey City.
Went to Jersey City, yeah. And then we took a ferry across the river from Jersey City to Manhattan,
which was awesome.
It was very cool.
It was only like a 25 minute ride.
Really? I thought it was less than that. It was like
less? Oh, maybe less.
5-10 minutes.
Maybe less.
Yeah.
But funny thing, so we're all standing there in a big group, like ready to go, and the ferry's literally like coming to the dock, and I'm like, wait, did everyone get their tickets? Because I had not gotten one. I guess I just thought Paula got two of them. Which is stupid by me. Like I expected someone else to get it, but and then I ran and got it, and literally as I'm leaving the ticket booth, the ferry pulls into the dock. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I thought of it at that time.
That would have been fun.
But yeah, the ferry was really cool.
Yeah, it was.
The first time we went to New York, we sat up on like the top deck. That was really cool.
Yeah.
It was unbelievably windy.
Well, yeah, this time it was.
And cold.
This time it was really windy. One thing, I do not know what happened to me all day. I was not inebriated, but every time I got on anything that moved, it looked like I was inebriated. Because literally I got on the ferry and it was starting to move. I wasn't ready for it and I almost fell. We were in the M&M store. I got on the escalator and almost fell.
Yeah.
on the subway, I almost fell twice. Also, I got crushed by the door on the subway.
Oh, that was funny.
Stinking. No, it wasn't at the moment.
It was funny for me.
It was after that was funny. Yeah.
Tell them about that.
Well, we were on our way back, and we were rushing to the subway, and I don't know why, but as I'm getting onto the subway, the doors closed. Began to close
before you're in the actual train.
This much of me was in the train, and it just closed on me, and I was feared for my life. It popped back open pretty quickly, but it was still like, oh.
Well, the train starts moving like as soon as the doors
close, so it's like, all right.
Yeah, that was like pretty ridiculous, actually.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's like just even the idea, talking about stress about going, like even just the idea of getting on the subway is intimidating because it's just like, one, like we don't use public transportation regularly, especially not the subway. And it's New York, like we're not used to that. So, but it wasn't bad.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
it was crowded.
We only rode it twice, you know, so it was just to go from.
And people
the
ride
ferry
it
to
every
Times
day.
Square.
It's not like
Yeah,
you're in real danger.
exactly.
But yeah, kind of coming back to like just first getting there. Again, the weather was definitely not in our favor, but sort of.
It kind of was just because
it wasn't unbearable. It wasn't super cold.
What we've been saying the last few weekends was just go prepared and you're fine.
Yes.
And that's literally all we had to do. We just went prepared.
And I feel like it helped with the crowds
and everything. Yeah, it definitely did. And it had rained earlier. We got there right after the rain stopped. So that was nice because that kind of kept the crowds away. And our first stop was 9/11 Memorial. So it wasn't very crowded there. And then we went to the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, we walked straight from there.
That was crowded, but
which
that
is not a far 20-minute walk.
Yeah, something like that.
Roughly
it wasn't bad, but it was
walk.
Nice. It was a nice walk, not very crowded. And then the Brooklyn Bridge was crowded, but it was it's a small.
It's not a big bridge. Yeah,
exactly.
It's
a small walkway on a bridge. So
that was really cool.
The Brooklyn Bridge was nice. Yeah.
First time I went, it was way more crowded than that.
Oh, that's
like I would say,
awful.
like the whole thing.
Right.
But we walked to like the first big pillar.
Yeah.
Where like there's the ropes come and meet, like the first big pillar.
The first big pillar.
Pretty much, it was the first pillar that was big. That was really cool.
Yeah.
It's a little nerve-wracking sometimes because like it's literally just like a.
Well, I think
like
Haley
a railing.
pointed it out was literally it's just wood at one point. Like it's just wood and you can see the cars between the slats of the wood. You're like, we could just fall through.
But another thing that was cool is I took my Fujifilm camera there. That was awesome. Like getting it, like that was like the first time I really used it and like really actually had like an entire day, and like that was a perfect place to do it.
Oh, definitely.
And the weather was perfect for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got some really good shots from what I saw.
Shooting in like the cloudy, like being cloudy really helped, and like the rain kind of added like a cool effect. But
it was nice.
And then from the Brooklyn Bridge, we
went to the subway station, but it was the wrong subway station. So we spent about 10, 15 minutes figuring
just kind of
out
trying
the
to
train, what train we were going to take, which,
Paula pretty much figured out everything.
Yeah, exactly.
But what was I going to say? Oh, there was a man trying to help us, but didn't really speak a lick of English. So he was kind of saying like something about a transfer, but also wasn't talking very loud. So I was like, just kind of saying yes and
agreed.
Then still have no idea.
Connor found the right train station or whatever. He found the directions to the next train station.
Yeah, which is so cool. Like I did not know you could do this, but right in Apple Maps, like you can check where it says drive in the bottom left corner, and you can change it from walking. I forget what the other options were, but transit is an option, and it tells you exactly what. So if you are going to New York or somewhere that involves a subway, you can choose transit, and it will tell you what station you need to take. That was really cool and very helpful.
I can't imagine going before technology.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah,
not
so
before technology, but
from
before like
after we
where it is now.
figured out where we needed to go, it was pretty simple.
Yeah,
it was a little bit of a walk, but we figured out exactly where we needed to go, and it was about a 14-minute drive to get to Times Square from the subway, right near the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah,
and
14-minute train ride, which was like equal to like an hour and a half, 45-minute walk. So that it was good. We took the subway.
Yeah, it was so cool getting off the subway
and
because
we got to Times Square and got off the subway, and you go up the subway station and you walk right out into Times Square with all the billboards and everything. So that was really cool.
Yeah,
was
you
really
come
awesome.
out from the steps. And it's just like right there, and it's like you're just surrounded by Times Square. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like that would be a reason to take the subway. Is like you just come right out and you're there.
And you're there. You're just there.
But you're not. I mean, it's whatever you consider to be Times Square, I guess.
Yeah, it's
because like.
You are art center.
Yeah. I consider
not the the well-known part of Times Square.
Like if I think of Times Square, I think of where those steps are.
Yeah,
the steps, and then there's a
where
statue.
The ball drops.
Yeah, and there's a statue at the base of those steps.
Yeah.
Which I think is at the corner of 45th Street and 7th Avenue. I think is where it is.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Once we got there, we got lunch.
Yeah.
You guys got
not very
McDonald's.
New York lunch. McDonald's and Popeyes.
But the thing is like someone mentioned about like, oh, why did you get that? And I was just like, well, we weren't really there to eat. Like food wasn't a priority for the trip. So it was kind of just like we were hungry, so let's get something to eat and then just keep doing whatever we're doing.
Right, yeah.
Like on to the next thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wanted to do something for lunch, but I was kind of outvoted.
Well, it was
way easier to just get McDonald's. Like it was I wasn't like, oh, that's my first choice, but I was totally like, yeah, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Just to make things easier. And it was much easier to just get lunch there.
We headed into where did we go straight from
lunch?
From lunch. We went
Disney
into
store?
Yeah, the Disney store, which was cool.
It was really big. Didn't do a ton for me.
Yeah. I mean, just going in was like a cool experience.
Yeah.
But I also like I don't think we were in like the right mindset. Like we weren't planning on going in stores.
Yeah.
To where I feel like if you had that like pre-planned, like this is what we're doing, it would have been more like, oh, let's go in more stores.
Right. Yeah.
But it was like we went in the Disney store just to kind of see what it was like, and then the girls went in Sephora, and then which was kind of basic, like just kind of looked like a normal store.
Yeah.
And then we went in the M&M store just because I've never been in there. We went to Times Square twice, and I've never been in there, so that was cool to see.
Yeah.
The one thing I would have liked to see the Lego store.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I don't know if it was. I think it was because it was like in a completely different area.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's near. I don't know. I think it's near Central Park.
Yeah,
like
it was. The stores were nice. It was just not like I'm not a big store guy, so you know.
Plus, it was really crowded in the stores.
In the stores, it was pretty.
The M&M store was.
The M&M
really,
store,
really
the
crowded.
Escalator didn't work. That was probably.
Why is it that you like instantly forget how to walk up steps when you see an escalator that's broken?
And it was so weird. It was like in my mind, it felt like it was moving.
Yeah,
and I was like, but it's not moving. It's just me walking. It's weird.
Well, I guess I'm standing here until they fix it.
Exactly. But what else? We saw some of the characters around Times Square. Very aggressive. I would say this. What I said to my mom was, everyone in Times Square is trying to sell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or not even sell you something, just get something from you. Like, picture, money.
Yeah,
you know what I
mean?
Say, legitimately.
If you're
want
there,
my CD? Money.
Do not take a picture with them unless
you're
willing to pay them.
Yeah,
I mean, that's fine.
What did that guy say to you? Hey, just take the CD. Just take here. I'll sign it. I'll sign it.
And
here, you can pay for it too. It's like
and he's like, can you help us out with a donation?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's like a huge crowd of people, and I'm like,
I got offered.
I would love
like
to help,
60
but
tickets.
we're in the middle of like rushing, struggling to get through this crowd.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, he's like, "Here, take this." I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
Because I was like, I'm not going to say no.
Exactly.
But like he literally like handed it to me, and then he's like, "Here, I'll sign it for you." And he's
It's like, okay, just you keep it.
Proceeded to tell me his whole life story, and I was like, I'm just trying to get through this crowd.
Exactly. I'm just trying to not get lost.
But yeah,
I was offered like multiple bus tours. You know, it's like, hey, bus tour. I'm like,
yeah, your friend like 2 seconds ago just offered me one.
Yeah, exactly. So on every corner. I would say that the coolest part of Times Square was just being on the steps and looking around and seeing all the billboards and all that. That was really fun.
Because in all reality, like Times Square is just like
it's just a bunch of billboards.
It's you're just like you're there, and then it's like you're there.
Yeah,
like, that's
exactly.
kind of it.
And it was really cool. Like seeing all the movies that it's you see it in, and just hearing about it, seeing all the news. It's just it was cool to be there. But it was Times Square.
Yeah, I would say going up on the steps was awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that was like that. I feel like that's the only way you really take it all in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're down at the bottom. There's people all the way around you, so it's like
I would say though, honestly, walking down Broad Street to the City Hall from the Art Museum steps.
Yeah,
is cooler than Times Square.
Well,
I would say that.
Because it's like you can actually enjoy the walk.
Yeah, but even if it was super crowded, I would still enjoy it more.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought it looked cool. Like it looks cooler, that like line, and then it's like, oh,
yeah,
that's really cool.
Plus, it's like
I feel like that's cooler than not like I'm like, oh, Philadelphia's, but just that to me, like
I think I would agree.
I think that's a much cooler setup. Like you can stand like sitting on the steps of the art museum and looking at City Hall is way cooler.
I agree.
Than
I agree.
Times Square.
I agree because
just as for comparison for anyone who hasn't gone.
I think it's also has a lot to do. Well, for me, has a lot to do with like it almost feels like when you're in Times Square, it almost feels like you're like this big.
Yeah.
And when you're sitting on the art museum steps, like it's way more like homey or something. And it's not just because we live in Philly.
Well, it's because it's your home. I can just
because
say
like
because you live there. Yeah.
But
no, I know exactly.
No, it's just not as aggressive as Times Square.
Yeah.
It's way more laid back.
I just think it looks cooler.
Yeah. I think the art museum looks cooler than any part of Times Square.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Times Square as a whole is cool.
Yeah.
We also got to see it almost at night. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like with everything, that would have been really cool.
It was like twilight time
to be able to see it like at night and everything lit up. Because we, so we'll talk about Central Park in a little bit. But on our way back from Central Park, it was like
it looked almost
little bit cooler. Almost sunset.
Yeah, like twilight time. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the time we got to Times Square, it was like still blue sky. So there was stuff lit up, but it wasn't anything like, say, nighttime and everything's lit up.
Yeah, that probably would have made it.
But that would have been really cool being able to see that. But the last ferry ride was at 8:00, so we had somewhere to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was cold. It was cold in the morning, and then right around lunchtime, it started to warm up and be okay. And then as we were heading back, it got really cold again. Yeah, like really windy.
Yeah, the wind was pretty aggressive.
Yeah,
which it is today.
Oh my gosh, gracious!
The door almost got like completely ripped off. Like I don't remember winds being this bad, like really ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Times Square was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We didn't. I mean, it's like I said, it's kind of hard to just like stand there and take it in because there's not really anywhere to stand.
Just stand there,
except for on the steps, which we did, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then from there, we went into some of the stores, and then from the stores, we kind of decided on what to do, right? And then we were like saying about we'll just go to Times Square. Oh, we went to Sephora because the girls wanted to go, and then we watched those people in the street.
Yeah,
that was like.
It was one of those. It was hey, we're gonna do this, but before we do this, we're gonna talk a bunch, and then it's like, okay, all right. Then they
all
did
right, now
one
we're
little
gonna
thing,
do it, and then
we're gonna talk about.
Now we're gonna come around and collect everyone's money.
Donations.
And
Please don't watch if you haven't donated. It's like you said about jumping over 5 people.
Everyone started to scatter. And I was like, I kind of feel bad, but I don't know. It was like, here's what I said.
I was just
here's
watching
what I
it
said.
I
It
was standing
like,
there
when we were in Central Park and we were in like that those steps.
Yeah.
That guy was singing. People were going up constantly giving him money because it was like phenomenal.
really good. Yeah,
and there was just something about like we didn't pay to come see it, and like I get it. Like you want to be nice, you put money in, and like it supports that person.
Yeah, they were
but
funny.
I don't know, something about like them like asking you before they do it and like going around to every person was kind of just like I don't know. But so anyway, from there we started walking towards Central Park. Stopped and got Starbucks on the way. Very disappointing.
We got what is it called?
I think
Mocha Cookie Crumble.
Mocha Cookie Crumble Frappuccino.
Mocha Cookie Crumble Frappuccino. We've
got
it. He got it a few times, and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" It's actually one coffee drink that I like because it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I've gotten it 3 or 4 times. So I got a medium.
Yep.
Medium. I don't know what they call it, and it was $8. $8 for a medium.
Yeah.
And it had no taste.
But Jim, how good was it?
Not good at all.
I agree.
Literally not good at all.
It was like
freezer
90% ice.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And I'm like, listen. If I'm going to spend $8 on a drink, I will. I'll spend $8 on a drink. But if I'm going to spend $8 on a drink, it better be a darn good drink.
Better pick us up and carry us to
Central Park.
And it didn't.
It did not at all. I spent $6 on a large at the premium outlets in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Gloucester. And that's New Jersey. And it was divine.
Yeah.
And I spent $6 on a large. And then I spent $8 on a medium. And it's garbage.
Well, the whole time I'm like, all right, well, it just needs to be stirred.
Yeah.
And then by the time, and then once you're done the drink and you're still trying to convince yourself that it just needs to be stirred, it doesn't need to be stirred.
No,
it's just not good.
I maybe got one sip that I was like, oh, that actually tasted good.
Yeah.
And then the rest was garbage.
Yeah, it was
garbage. It was very disappointing. It was a low period.
But if that was the worst part of the day, we made out pretty well.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. The Starbucks was pretty disappointing.
It was very disappointing.
So from Starbucks, take it away, Jim.
We traversed our way to Central Park, which was the best part of the day.
Right?
Central Park to the Met, and then back through Central Park was the best
part of the day.
Absolutely, it was.
And I feel like it's just because, I don't know, there's just something about you're just being in Times Square was kind of eye-opening. Like, wow, this is like really not for me.
Right.
Like, it was cool.
Yeah.
But
I got you.
It made you just feel, I don't know, like everyone was just, I don't know, it was just like a weird feeling almost.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It was
like just being there was cool.
Yeah.
But the vibes.
I wouldn't need to go back to Times Square.
Yeah.
But I would like to go back
and
to
walk
other
Central Park.
Yeah, to walk Central Park or go to like I would like to fully go to the 9/11 monument and like see the museum and everything because we only went to the monument.
Mm-hmm. Liked where they were.
Yeah, like the hole in the ground, ground zero. I don't know if that's disrespectful to say the hole in the ground. If it is, I apologize.
It
but
is. It's a hole.
Okay. But yeah, I would say Central Park and the Met were the best part of the day.
Were the coolest, 100% agree.
Parts of the
because
day.
It was like you had room to breathe.
Yeah, and also we saw the John Wick fountain.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get
there because we have a little ways to go.
Yeah,
but it's if you've never been there, it's very much not a normal park. I would say.
No,
like I don't really know how to explain it, but
it's giant.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah,
I think it's.
I think the coolest part about it, oddly enough, is like I've seen the baseball fields down in Philly, like downtown Philly, like but like being like with all the rocks and like then there was that
there's 2 baseball fields
and then there's baseball fields and then there's this. But when you look up, you can see all the cities like
all
the buildings around you. I was like, this is really cool. Yeah. Like it was hard to explain exactly why, but it was just like this is a really cool, just kind of being in this
It was just such a good feeling
with the
just
trees and
walking through
everything.
there.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if it had like a lot to do with the fact that we were just like in Times Square, which was
Right,
like
yeah.
so in your face.
Yeah.
And then it's like you get to Central Park and you're just walking through a park, but it feels different.
It feels
because you have the like New York City sort of surrounding most of it.
Yep.
And just the setup is really cool.
Yeah, it's a really pretty park.
They have a full street going through one section of it that's all sectioned off for like bikers, walkers, and carriages.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like actually like a street that say it looks like a normal road, but it's actually sectioned off for people. But
yeah, it's definitely well set up and like really beautiful. Really
and
beautiful
at
area.
that time, the sun started coming out.
Yeah.
Plus, it was like cool. So it really just all set up really good, and it was like right at sunset. Pretty much.
It was really nice. Well, a few hours before sunset.
Yeah, but we walked from there to the I wish we knew what those steps were called.
Yeah, I know.
But like, I don't really know how to explain.
So here's how it happened,
are.
though. Haley said about her and Paula. She knew the steps
from Gossip Girl.
Yeah, because she was wondering where they were, and then we just stumbled upon them, and she's like, "Oh, these are the
yeah."
steps.
She was like, "Yeah." This
and then I'm looking at it, I'm like, "Wait, these
are
the John.
These
Wick,
are the
these
steps.
are the steps. These are the John Wick steps. Where in John Wick 2, he's excommunicado, and he has to run.
And it's like that
from
shot.
that fountain.
Yeah,
up those steps.
So Jim did the whole thing. He ran up the steps, and I got a couple pictures.
Winston.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then it's like he comes down the steps and then runs.
I had seen the movies, but we just recently. Well, I watched them with Will and our friend Taylor and Isaac and Connor and Franklin. So we had just watched them, and I was like, "This is the place."
Yeah,
this was really cool.
That was really cool.
It was very cool.
You realize, like, we're saying like a lot,
moving.
But you realize how many movies and TV shows are just
in New York.
And it's unbelievable.
It's so
Holy
crazy.
Cow.
And that was one of the parts that I was really like interested in. Really, was just seeing like the famous places. You know what I mean?
Like
that you see all the time, and just being
physically
in there.
being there.
Yeah,
that was really
oddly
cool.
enough. The coolest one was the part that I didn't even know that it was in Central Park. Like I didn't even know that it was there.
And then so on our way back, when we got to those steps again, we go up the steps. And it's that whole runway.
Yeah, whole runway.
Where he's running the whole time.
Yeah, like, exactly. The whole end of the second movie. Yeah, exactly.
That was really cool, too. But
it was very cool.
Oh, yeah. And when we were there, like at the base of those steps is like this really cool...
enclosed,
kind of like,
like gazebo kind of thing.
Yeah, but like really big.
Yeah, yeah. It was like a underpass.
Almost like reminded you of like an Italian Roman type design, like with the arches and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a man singing in there.
Using the
that
acoustics.
Was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was really great. He kind of looked like Kevin Durant. He was very tall and like
very
big
tall.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And had like that goatee. I wish we knew what his name was, but
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. Yeah.
But then on the other side, there was a man who was singing with a guitar. Either his voice was gone, or that's just how he sang.
Yeah, it was very raspy,
and it was
like
not
about as
good
raspy as you could get.
It kind of like offset it. It was like beautiful opera music. And
yeah, because this guy was like
he was
just like singing
out,
opera almost.
You go past this guy and he's like free falling, and it was
kind of like that.
Maybe like go away. I don't mean to be.
We love you if you're listening to this.
Just don't do that. Don't. Do that.
But straight from there, we continued thusly
north, right? To the Met.
I think it was north.
Yeah, either one.
One of them. And we went to the Met, like you said.
The Met Gala. We were all dressed up. We made a bunch of celebrities.
It was sick.
Yeah.
We met Timothée Chalamet.
We definitely did.
And Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
And
that's all the celebrities we know.
Margot Robbie. The rest of the show, I'm just going to name actors and actresses.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't actually go there, but
so that's another
we went
thing.
To the Met, but we didn't go to the actual Met Gala.
Paula informed us that in Gossip Girl, apparently they eat there. They eat their lunch there.
Yep.
So like her and Haley did like the whole eat lunch thing. It was a whole thing. It was cool.
It was nice. It was really cool.
But I did not know like the Met Gala. I don't know anything about it, but
I
I
just
know of
by
it.
name. Yeah.
But I did not know it was there. Like I could have put
Yeah.
2 and 2 together, but I just never did.
Yeah.
But so that was even cool. Like not that it's anything that we're directly interested in, but it was just cool being there. Like, hey, this is where they do that big.
Also
event.
saw the Sanctum Sanctorum from Doctor Strange, Marvel movies.
No idea what you are
It was
talking
it
about.
was the building that they used as like the base of the Sanctum Sanctorum, except for the big.
Was that right
window.
near the Met?
Right across the street from the Met.
Oh, was
Yeah.
it that corner building?
The green roof.
Ah.
Yeah.
So what is that? What are they doing there?
It's the where Doctor Strange is like headquartered, pretty much.
Really?
Yeah. Remember where Hulk falls through in Infinity War?
Yes, I
That.
know exactly. Why did you say? I thought you said DC.
No, I said the MCU.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. That is so cool. Now that
I
we should have walked down that street.
I
probably
thought I
wasn't
did.
listening.
Yeah.
But no, we got got a ton of really cool pictures there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like even though we didn't really know what that event was or like weren't super familiar with, it was still cool. Like
Yeah.
being there.
Yeah. It was.
That
really
was
cool.
that was cool.
Yeah.
And then straight from the Met, we walked back through Central Park, which
Yep.
was
It was nice. Yeah. It was more of a
because we
rushed
had
walk because
yeah.
of tired.
Well, because of tired and because of we wanted to make sure we got back in plenty of time to
Yeah.
get the last ferry, which
Yeah.
we did.
Though we got back with at like 6:30.
Well, that's what I
To
was
the
trying
ferry.
to remember is like when did we actually get back? Because the
Was-
last one was at 8, and I remember thinking,
We were back
It's
way
a-
before 8. We got
Yeah,
home
was it?
almost around 8.
Oh, yeah,
no,
that's
we got
right.
home almost around
we got home late. I thought 7:30.
because the World Baseball Classic between Venezuela and Dominican Republic was on at 7, and then we listened to a lot of that in the car, and then it was just starting. The American game was just starting at 9, and
Yeah.
we got back before it started.
Yeah, it was
So
very cool.
back home before it started.
It
So
was
we
very
drove all
cool,
over from Jersey City.
walking through when it was somewhat dark out. Like I said, it wasn't like fully lit up or anything. There was still blue sky, but by the time when we were walking through Times Square, it was not super dark. But by the time we got to the end of it and like went down the subway and came up to say whatever, got on the subway, and then when we came out of the subway area to get to the ferry, it was like pretty much dark out, completely dark out.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Like,
Yeah.
kind of getting to walk through at least part of the city when it was dark out. But yeah, and then we rode back. Oh my gosh, so tired. I said I felt like my feet were more tired than even going to Disney.
Yeah, because we didn't sit all day.
Yeah, like literally.
We stood and ate.
That's
like,
true. We did.
We only sat on the subway all day.
And I stood the first subway ride because there was
same.
no seats available.
I stood for the most.
And then I
subway ride.
sat the train ride back.
Yeah.
So it was like, the only time we actually sat
Was in the car.
was in the car on the way there, and then say when someone was using the bathroom, we
Yeah.
sat for like
we tried to milk
5 minutes.
as much out of that as we could, but it was not very long for sitting.
But it was so worth it.
Yeah,
Like,
it was. It was a long.
we
day,
were
but a
kind
fun
of
day.
we were in go mode, I would say, most of the time.
Definitely.
But yeah, it was pretty rough on the feet.
And the knees.
The feet was tired.
Yeah,
By
but it was
end of day.
it was nice though. We did pretty much everything we set out to do.
I was thinking about that, like afterwards.
Because Gnome was the one who really wanted to go. It was like her Christmas thing. We were going for her.
Yeah.
So she really wanted to go see the Brooklyn Bridge. She wanted to see the 9/11 Memorial, wanted to see Times Square, and wanted to see Central Park. And we did all that.
Yeah.
So
And-
it was,
and,
it
like,
was a
Took it in. Like,
exactly.
all of it. A lot.
We spent a lot of time there doing everything we could. And like we left and we were like, that felt like a long day, but it was a like well spent day.
Yeah. No, I was even thinking about that afterwards, about like, say, was there anything that we missed out on or that we should have done that we didn't get to do? And I couldn't really think of too much.
Not too much.
There was a couple things like the Lion King show. That would be really cool to go back.
Yeah, go to see one of the Broadway plays.
It'd be cool to walk all of Central Park. Like I would go just for that, to walk from one end to the other and just kind of spend an entire day there.
Yeah, I would play baseball there.
Yeah, even just go and just be in the park all day.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, it was what, an hour and a half drive? It's like nothing.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was like an hour 40.
Yeah. Like it was
wasn't
like
bad at all.
wasn't bad at all. And like parking in Jersey City and taking the
Super
ferry,
easy.
you don't have to worry about parking like at all.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
there's a parking garage right at the ferry, which is like $23.
$23 to park for like over 8 hours.
Yeah, so like that was no problem.
Nice. We got
the
there.
first time we went to New York, we
Yeah.
parked in New York. Like in New York City. And like
Okay.
that was rough.
That was rough.
That made
my
me
mom asked me if she's like, was it worth it? I was like, I don't know, but I can imagine it was. I'm seeing how things were down there. I could not imagine having to find parking.
Yeah, no, like honestly, trying to find, it wasn't so much as trying to find parking. It was more leaving.
I would say
Leaving was like, I thought we were just gonna
stay there
live in New
forever.
York City for the rest of our life. But
I hate that.
like going there for the first time and doing that kind of deterred me from wanting to go back. I was just like, and I wasn't even driving, but it was just like that anxiety that it just builds from being in like say traffic like that, where it's like gridlock just everywhere.
Yeah, it was like driving.
It was kind
in
of
Washington.
overwhelming. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, doing the whole ferry thing was awesome. Like
Yeah,
that. If you would plan on going, if any of you would plan on going, like
Take the ferry.
1,000% do the ferry.
Definitely.
Freight from Jersey City it goes straight to pretty much ground zero. Like
Yeah,
I
we had
think
to
you can
walk
take it to different areas.
Different areas, yeah.
I wonder if
Different
you can
ferries
take the
it
ferry to. I wonder what your other options are.
there. The one was Hoboken. Well, that was on Jersey side.
Because I would imagine there's not too big of a range, because
there's a few places
if
could
you like
go.
to go
Yeah.
like in the middle of the city, like
Yeah.
you're gonna have to walk or
Yeah.
have some sort of transport there anyway, other than the ferry.
Right.
But
I
Yeah.
will say though, we didn't see it like up close, but the Statue of Liberty is much
there you go.
smaller than I thought.
well, probably because how far away we were.
Probably, but even when we were close, when we were driving, and it was like right.
Yeah.
But I guess that even so, but still, like
Well,
I
also
thought it'd be,
we're on a bridge,
even from further, I thought it would be.
You
look
thought-
a little
yeah.
bit bigger. It looks.
so that's one thing to go
Yeah.
back to do.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely like to go back and see, like visit the Statue of Liberty of that
So
island.
see,
or whatever.
like that would be interesting, like to know, like, can you get a ferry or whatever the situation is to
I
get
probably
there?
not from where we took the ferry, but probably from.
No, that would be far. That would
yeah,
be really
that would
far.
be really far.
To get from there to Statue of Liberty, and then from the Statue of Liberty to. I mean, it seems like it would be like right at the other side of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah. No.
But I guess it depends. But that would be a reasons to go back. And
Yeah,
I
definitely.
going back this time, I wasn't super looking forward to it. Again, because
You've gone
because
before
I've been there twice, and it was like the first time it was like very overwhelming with to me,
Crowds.
just personality wise. I'm sure there'd be other people that it didn't even bother me at all. But
Yeah.
like the crowds and parking and
right.
whatever was just like very overwhelming. So and
What
then
I
the
think
second
helped-
time, like we only did the 9/11 stuff.
Right.
And like it's a learning experience,
But
but,
it's
it is very like
I'm glad
emotional.
we didn't do all of it because
It honestly like took over my entire brain for
Yeah.
the rest of the day.
it's
and
a lot.
I get it. Like you want to know about it. It's interesting to learn about.
I think
But
you have to go to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's
to
what we
go
did.
to do that,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
yeah,
Because like that's
what
a
we did.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just after a while hearing the ambulances and horrible things that were happening, it's a lot. Like
it's a lot.
not.
Yeah.
It's
not for the faint of heart.
It's not at
Yeah.
all. And like it did happen. It's real, and it
Happens
hits
very
you.
quickly.
It hits
Yeah,
you like it's
yeah.
real. But yeah, that was what we did the second time.
Right. I
The
also
entire
helps that
day
we
was
all
that.
kind of had in mind, like we all like this time going. It was like everyone had like the same mindset. We were all just, we knew it was going to be crowded. We all just stuck together, did what we could to make everything easier for everybody else. So it was nice.
And also it was like we had general ideas of what we were doing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like specific, we have to be here at this time.
Yeah.
It was more like, okay, we want to see the Brooklyn Bridge. We want to see Times Square. We want to see Central Park. We want to see the Met. So it was like we all had we just made a point to get there at some point of the day. It wasn't crazy running around. Oh, we have to make sure it's almost this time. We have to make sure we get there. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And like that's what we were saying about like Disney. Like the one thing that can
be stressful about
Disney. Turn you off to it is like, oh well, we have a fast pass in 10 minutes.
Day. Yeah, it's a planned out day.
Just to be able to have an idea of what we were doing and then just at some point in the day do it, like that was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
I think it made everything a lot more calm because there were points where we were like I don't know, I guess when we were going to Central Park, it was like, oh, can we stop here for this?
Yeah.
And then it was like Paula said right away, she's like, we don't have anywhere to be.
Right, exactly.
And that was like the best part was not having a super well-rounded plan or schedule for the day.
We just knew what we wanted to go see. We didn't go unprepared. We just knew what we wanted to see and just made sure we fit that into what we wanted.
So if we went back, that was the last topic that I actually had written down. But if we go back, number one is the Statue of Liberty. I would love to do like, I don't know, what is it, like a tour? I guess you would do a tour.
I think you can. I don't know. You can walk up to the top. I think so. Yeah, I believe so.
So to do whatever that entails.
If I were to go back, I definitely want to do the 9/11 like museum and everything because we didn't get to do that.
That is
me and Noam would find that way more interesting, I think, than you would.
Yeah.
Like I would.
Like again, it wasn't that I didn't find it interesting. It was literally I forget when it was, but it was just a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
I can't remember what year we went. But
I believe it was like 2019,
maybe
2018.
Yeah.
One of those.
But yeah, it was a lot. Like it's a lot mentally to take it all in, and if you're doing it for an entire day, but I guess it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah,
but it could take up an entire day. Yeah. I would think. I guess it depends on how long you spend in there. Like when we went, like everyone was reading, watching, and listening to everything that was there. So I guess it's really up to you how long it takes. But so the Statue of Liberty, the 9/11, I would say to do all of Central Park. Yeah. To walk all of Central Park. Yeah. And the Lego store. That would be really cool.
Definitely, yeah.
To be able to go in there.
See the Empire State Building too.
That's funny that you bring it up because where? where is the Empire State Building?
When we came across the river and you looked to your left, it was on the island to your left. So what's right next to Manhattan? I mean, they're all right next to. Probably, I think it's in Brooklyn.
Well, Brooklyn's the other way.
The Bronx, then.
It would have to be.
I feel like.
I think. I don't know. That's what we're guessing. But
because it's not in Queens.
Also,
where is Buddy the Elf?
That's in Manhattan because he's in Central Park.
Yeah, but he walks through the Lincoln Tunnel and sees the Empire State Building. Because Walter Hobbs works in the Empire State Building, does he not? His dad works in the Empire State Building.
I don't know, but he walks. He has
deep dive into Elf.
He has the snowball fight
in Central Park.
Central Park, where that bridge was, which we went and stood on.
Yeah, but he goes.
Well, I mean, he could.
He walks through the Lincoln Tunnel, and it is definitely the Empire State Building. But I don't think they.
Should I just Google it?
Yeah, specify. Where
all right, this will be the first. This will be our first.
Google.
Our first Google.
Well, we did kind of Google
the Empire State.
They're like New York City.
New York, idiot.
Imbeciles.
Another thing that I wanted to look up
is in
Midtown Manhattan. So it is in Manhattan. They lied to us. Did we see it?
I saw it when we came back on the ferry because it was really foggy.
It's right. It's right by 7th Avenue, which is what we walked down, like, the whole time.
Yeah.
going to Central Park.
Yeah, it was kind of foggy, so we kind of missed it. But I would like to go see the Empire State Building.
Yeah, and
so it's in Manhattan.
And
everything else.
The Plaza Hotel, because that's where he stays in Home Alone.
Oh, right.
So I was that would be cool to see.
That'd be cool, yeah.
But again, it's like all these places you think, oh, I want to go see this, this, and this. And it's like, all right, well, how are you getting there?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, okay, well, you could take a taxi or you could enjoy your time there.
Exactly.
But, yeah, I mean, you got to be ready to walk.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be kind of cool to like take bikes.
It would be cool to walk.
It'd be cool to take bikes until the first 5 minutes, and then it'd be like, yeah, this is terrible.
Like, why
worst
did
idea
we bring
ever.
bikes? Why is there bikes here?
But yeah, like it's funny because that's exactly how it was this time. Is like you think of all these places that you want to go.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, we got to get there, and everything is not like within walking distance. And like we think of like Ocean City, and like
where
it's
you can
like
walk from First to
and even
Street.
that is far.
Yeah.
So it's like, and
it's a lot.
New York is enormous.
Yeah.
And if you want to go see a bunch of different things that are in different sections of it, you got to take transportation into consideration. And that is one of the most stressful parts of being in New York City.
But overall, grade it. Give it a letter grade.
As far as a day, we just talked about day trips. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Strictly because
We'll do your numbers on a letter grade.
Wait, what's a letter grade?
Like A, B,
A through Z?
A through F.
Oh, like A plus.
Yeah.
I would say A minus because of the crowd, like whatever. Like it was
That's
crowds.
still a good day.
Like no, it's an excellent day. I'm keeping my A plus for like when we go to the Adirondacks in New York and go hike for an entire day.
Yeah. I'll be.
What about you?
I would give it an A, a solid A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And I recommend that you go, and
the
I recommend that you
great. That went.
That you
so it was, that made it an A.
Do the transportation system that we did.
That also though with the transportation is like we were super stressed about it, but it's easier once you just look at the map. Okay, this is what it is, and it's you get on this train, go downtown. This train to go uptown.
Exactly. So here's all you have to know. If you do the ferry situation,
right,
and you're right at Ground Zero, find subway 1, 2, or 3. Take that uptown. Bam, 42nd Street. When you want to come back, 1, 2, or 3. Take that downtown, Chambers Street. Write it down. Take notes. That's what you got to do.
Do it.
It was really easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say A minus because I'll save my A plus for. That'll probably never.
I'll go
never be
A
an
minus. A minus.
So upcoming for the pod.
The pod upcoming.
We kind of talked about it in the beginning, but
we have not heard yet about our audio recorder.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
I have not received.
I thought about it today.
I did too.
So
I got a call at the gym, and
from Levittown.
No.
Not from Levittown.
No, I thought it was from Levittown because I know it's from Levittown. So it's 322. So I was like,
oh yeah.
I figure he'll leave a message if he calls and I miss it.
Yeah, it's still weird that we didn't just ship it to your house. Because like you already paid, you already did everything like that.
Yeah, I guess he I don't know, to finalize.
Maybe it's like an official trade-in at that point.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say to kind of end it off? I was going to talk about something. I can't.
You said we started the pod with it.
Oh yeah. So the RSS.com situation. It's very easy. It's just a matter of paying for it.
Yeah, it's a subscription-based thing.
It's really easy to upload.
Yeah. We hope. We think. Did you do research on it after we talked at the gym?
Well, I mean, we did. Oh, what? As far as like
you said, if it automatically.
It says all you have to do is upload your audio to RSS.com, and they take care of the rest. They distribute it, and then they give you opportunities to work with.
Sick.
To work with, say,
network
to kind of get your marketing.
Right.
Going.
Right.
To work with different brands and get sponsors. Right. So it's exciting.
Yeah. We're entering.
Because we're putting out a lot of content. I feel like two podcasts.
We're basically doing 2 hours of content each week.
So
all on top of planning our short film and shooting our short film and editing your two. And
yeah.
and whatnot, and planning other short films. So it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah. So
yeah.
This was a good one.
It was a good
because
episode.
we talked about like a trip that was exciting,
and hopefully you learned something from it.
Maybe a little bit next week we'll talk about our rock climbing trip.
Yeah, we went rock climbing on Friday.
So you'll hear about that next episode.
Yeah.
But for now, thank you for watching
the Everyman Guys.
The Everyman Guys.
Wait, we forgot, or you forgot.
Did I forget
that? On Tuesdays, what usually happens is that.
Are you talking about what I was going to say?
I think so. What was it you were talking about before the podcast?
Every time we do this, thank you for watching, Everyman Guys. We'll catch